Good morning, Miracle Center for Spiritual Living
Good morning.
people. Good morning. Oh, what a wonderful day, a beautiful day. Although there's a little rain outside, it's still a beautiful day. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Welcome to Miracle Center, as I said, where we express perfect love, perfect peace, perfect joy. It's good to be here, good to be alive. As we start our service this morning, I would like to read, uh, I would like to do first the invocation. So if you'll just join with me as we just recognize and unify with spirit this morning in the service, knowing that God is all there is, that the power, the love, the joy, the wisdom, the peace, all the good stuff God is. And that good stuff is moving through us right now from the center of our souls, permeates everything, every word, every idea, every thought, every feeling, because it's all God and it's all good. So it is in this goodness this morning that we consciously unify, allowing the Spirit to move through us in a perfect, peaceful, and loving way. We bless all those that partake of the service this morning. We bless our musician, our Zoom director, and we bless our board of trustees. We bless our illustrious minister in the form of Reverend June Clark as she brings us those words of spirit, those ideas, those concrete ideas that we can live by, that we can move by, that we can honor ourselves by. So each one of you is blessed as you listen to this word. Each one of you is blessed as you participate in this service through your computers, through your telephones, however. And I decree that this goodness, that this perfection, this love that spreads out throughout this universe is definitely good. Knowing that nothing but God is taking place this morning. Nothing but peace and love is taking place this morning in this service. I decree that it is a spiritual experience and without question is in divine order. And if you're in agreement with me, simply affirm, and so it is. So it is. Amen. All right, moving on with our wonderful program this morning, I would like to read to you Awakening Our Perspective, the Science of Mind point of view. We each exist and have come into being so the divine spark, fire, impulse, creativity may be consciously expressed and not limited. We each are uniquely praised to express our special gifts. Forgive me. We each are uniquely poised to express our special gifts, talents, and strengths that only we can. It is the call of life itself, seeking to express itself in new, fresh ways, and we are tasked with answering the call with no limitations. Wow. Let us digest that. We are tasked with answering the call with no limitations. Wow, thank you. And at this time, I would like to bring our illustrious, wonderful minister forward in the form of Reverend June Clark, giving us those seeds of nourishment this day. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, everyone, here, there, and everywhere. It's so good to be here this morning, another Sunday, as we progress with this not so new system of bringing church to all of us. If you can see my podium here this morning, got all kinds of goodies for us this morning. I just couldn't decide on one phase, one point, so here we go. It's going to be one of those mornings. So I'm going to start right away and start with the weekly theme. And you'll notice it is at the top of your order of service here. And it is the great work of your life. And the theme for the month is listen to your heart. And I listened with my heart yesterday evening. I don't know how many of you tuned into CNN and then again on the other stations. I call them the regular stations, where they were where there was a dedicated honoring of the 2020 graduates for the entire country. And I listened with my heart, and I listened also to the theme for this week, and is the great work of your life. And what I gleaned from that, and what I know from seeing those two programs, that there is definitely a shift in this planet, and the graduates of 2020 are hopefully going to be unique in that they don't have the graduation ceremony of walking across the stage like many of us did. But the dreams and the purposes and the honorings that they gave to themselves and what they want for the future, I would say that the great work of their life is set before them. And that the benefit of the planet is going to be superb as they move into their futures. So in looking at that and thinking about today, as I was sitting there and I was listening, and there were several young people that made statements, and I said, I was going to say that tomorrow. Here they are making pronouncements about what was on my mind to bring forth, to convey to us. So knowing that there is only one mind, I know that the perfect truth is unveiled through whoever, however, whenever. So moving into this Sunday morning, the theme looking at today is, what is Dharma? And I put the Hindu symbol up there for us today. And maybe as we progress with through the rest of this month, and maybe not the rest of this month, but perhaps a little later in this year, or perhaps during our next year's season, is to do some studying of some of these world religions, which Ernest Holmes really drew from to create the science of mind. And so what is Dharma? And it is the foundation of Hinduism. And without going into too many segments or differences within Dharma, I'm just going to bring us into alignment with what I feel is our current emphasis, I guess, on what I want to do today is bring our emphasis on ourself as we're always moving through something. We keep saying we're moving through this time, through this pandemic, whatever. We're always moving through something. Every time you blink your eyes, you're further than you were the blink prior to that. So I'm getting a little tired with the cliches. We're moving through something. Of course we are. We're living, we're moving through life. And what I feel I want to concentrate today is, what are we doing with our life at this moment? And this moment will count for every next moment that we're going to be living. And that's, again, what I thought these young people were doing yesterday in their pronouncements of how they want the country to be, how they want the world to be, etc. So, Dharma, discovering one's life purpose. I don't care how old you are. you ought to have a purpose. It's not just up to the 18s and the 17s and the 16s and the 19s and the early 20s and all that. When I think back, I don't know if I had a purpose at that time. I probably did, because I was always kind of a stubborn one to do what I wanted. So I guess I could call that my purpose. But I still have a purpose, and every single one of us ought to have a purpose. And now that you are in a place where you're home, you're not focusing on, well, what do I need to put on to go to work, and what do I need to do this, do that. A lot of downtime, a lot of time to consider who you are at this moment and who you want to be as you move forward in your life. It has nothing at all to do with age. In fact, if you want to look at it, if you're above 20, I think you really ought to focus on what's going on in your life. Because, well, let me stretch it a little bit. 50. If you're beyond 50, the next big measure is 100. So you're at the midpoint of your life. If you're over 50, you're already halfway there to 100. So in today's day and age, 100 is like, people used to think, oh, if I make it to 40. Now, if we make it to 100, we're going to be the kids on the block. You with me? Yes, you are. Yeah. Yes, I know those that I'm looking at in here are kind of sort of, I won't say their ages, but we're at a point where we want the 100 to be, we want to be the kids when the hundreds get here. So your purpose is forever. And right now, we just need to bring forth who we are. And we're going to talk about genius, and we're talking about purpose, and we're talking about moving forward and not buying into any of the rhetoric. I don't care which side of the political scheme you're on, or which side of the, if your medical opinion is the one, or the political opinion is the one. For me, it's my opinion about what I want to do with my life right now. And that's what I want you to focus on. What do you want to do with your life right now? So the rest of this, uncovering what is one's sacred work, gifts, talents, and contribution to the world. You say, well, I live in Cleveland. I live in Cleveland Heights, or I live in Bedford, or I live on such and such a street. I don't care. It's the world. It is the world, and whatever we do on our space, whatever we do in our, we're not in a bubble, so everything affects the world that we do, and especially our prayer work, and especially our purpose, and especially our focus on who we are and what we want to do right now, which will shift the whole planet, and that's the world. So the next sentence here, we each have them, and that is talent, work, contributions, sacred work for the world. We each have them. What is your zone of genius? And I love that. I love that. You know, it said there are savants that walk among us. Savants are considered a genius. They have a special gift from God that no one else has. You know what? You got one too. So do I. Know your purpose. Find out what your genius is. And as, I don't know if it's an old expression or a new one, I can't keep up with them. Work it. Do it. Focus on it. Be it. Be alive to what's going on in your world, and stroke it and develop it and enjoy it and give thanks for it. And if you're giving thanks, everything is going to expand and come into more and more of itself. So Fran read to us the Science of Mind point of view. The divine spark fire, impulse, creativity may be consciously expressed and not limited. That's your genius. We've talked about the spark in prior weeks. We have no limitations except the ones you choose to put upon yourself. And you will say, maybe, maybe, maybe not. You'll say, but so-and-so said I can't do that. So-and-so said I can't do thus and so. No, not true. I remember being in the era of going to the high school counselor, and some of the children were, well, we all went, but some of them were told, you can go to college and you can do this and you can do that. And quiet as it's kept, June, you're going to get married, you're going to have children. Well, what about college? You're going to get married, you're going to have children. I don't know if it worked that way in your life. It worked that way in my life. So it took me, can't tell you for sure how many years to decide that I had another purpose. And that was 2 years of night school to get an AA degree, 6 years of night school to get a BA degree, another year of graduate school to get my 5th year for teaching, and that was in the daytime, and then another 2 years to get a master's degree in education, and then practitioner studies, which I think was the awakening of my life, was even more interesting than going to college classes, and that took me, practitioner studies, probably 3 years. And then she didn't have enough, went to ministerial training, and some people can do it in 3. I believe I did it in 4.5. So I wasn't 20 when I even started. So, I wasn't 25 when I finished, but it didn't matter, and it doesn't matter. And now I will take a class at the drop of a hat, especially a religious science class, because I'm forever moving toward what is my purpose? How much genius is still left within me that I can give to the world? So we're always moving, there's no limitations. So I'm going to move to the call to action. There is this divine urge within each of us, a sacred calling, and it beckons to you with increasingly strong calls as you go through life. Unless you're finished with life or life is finished with you, there's callings, there's things that are calling to you to be and to do and to bring forward. I looked up divine urge within each of us, and I decided to go to the Bible. So that's one of my resources here. So in Luke 17, verse 21, so quick, so simple, so short. Verse 21, neither shall they say, lo here or lo there. For behold, this is important, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17, verse 21. Within you. Ernest Holmes was not the first person to decide that that was the truth. Our teacher, Jesus the Christ, said it quite a bit before Ernest Holmes. Lo here or lo there. Do you want to go to college or do you want to be a housewife? Low here or low there? Have to forgive that person because I'm high here because of my own purpose and setting forth what I chose to do. So as Luke tells us, as Ernest Holmes tells us, and it beckons you with increasing strong calls as you go through life. Not that when you're 18, you decide that this is what your life's going to be. Not that you decide at 20, not that you decide as 30, not that you decide as 50, not that you decide as 70, not that you decide at 80 or 100 or 102 or 115. Every single moment that you take breath, you decide what's the most important thing in your life. What are you going to do? What are you going to do today? These days can easily meld into, oh, I don't have to get dressed today. I don't have to go out today. I don't have to do anything today. Yes, you do. You've got to think. You've got to think, how can I best take care of my body? Do I have to get dressed in silks and satins? If you choose to, it makes you feel better. That's great. No extremes, no extremes, no extremes. Just ordinary, what do I have to do today to live? And then from there, after you've decided to live, then what can I do for someone else? What can I bring forward to the world? What can I bring forward to the neighborhood that I live in? What can I bring forward to my city? What can I bring forward to the country? What can I bring forward, period? Just by reading a couple lines and chapters from the Bible to set me on a different path. What can I do to open my science and mind textbook and turn to a page? And the page is the perfect page to tell you how to improve your life. That's a purpose, and work it and do it. So we're going to go through these 4 steps here. And the first is that spirit is in every living thing. It is in every soul, latent, sometimes latent, simply waiting to be brought forth and come through the avenue we express. The avenue we express. Who are you? What do you do? What do you assist in? What do you bring forth to the economy? It needs help. Do you stay at home and count your money, or do you decide, well, you count it and then you decide, well, I can send some to church. You know, that's my first priority. Got to think of the church. Do I send some to the church? Fran, this morning she was telling Arnie, I brought in $15 worth of pennies. That's $15 more than we had. So our penny jar has more pennies. And what was that, Fran? If each person brought $15 worth of pennies, 10 of us, how much is that? $150. $150. See, I listen. Set that as a purpose. If you want to make it more than pennies, fine. We welcome it, fine. But being serious, and I am serious, set about a purpose. Just because you're home, set about a purpose that will assist in your life and the life of another. It is to bring out these great realities of life and happiness, health, love, and power to supply these things that make life worthwhile. If your life is not worthwhile, you are wasting your genius. You are wasting your purpose. And why not? Why is your life not worthwhile? Not up to me to make it that way. It's not up to anybody in this room. There's a few of us. It's not up to your cousin or your partner or your wife or your children. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Make your life worthwhile. And that focus is from Ernest Holmes in Love and Law on page 100.1. And this love and law and this thing called you, this thing called life, very, very, I say simple and right on short books by Ernest Holmes that can turn your life around. If you set that as your purpose to just find the one that you have, which I tried to find, I couldn't find yesterday, but if you have it, have one of those books to just use that and open it up. And I guarantee whatever page that your eye falls upon, whatever paragraph, you'll set yourself up a new purpose in life. So we'll move on to the second focus here. You exist that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you, not stored up, not held onto so tight that it is not shared with the world. You don't even share stuff with yourself if you get that tight. Yeah, I mean, come on. You got to open up and look at yourself. And I know most of us that are within the sound of my voice are over the age of 39. Yeah. I'll take that number, 39. I know we have things to look back upon. Sure, they happened. Some of them were glorious and wonderful, some of them weren't. If they were, look at them and praise them and examine them. If they weren't, look at them and praise them and examine them and say, thank God that's gone, that's done. And if you didn't learn something from it, you better re-examine it so that you don't do it again. So we've all got something that we can do. The next sentence in this paragraph, the Spirit comes to you with a new and fresh creativity. Creativity. What are you creative about? I don't know. That's up to you to answer. Got plenty of time on your hands. You need not ask what others have done or how they have done it. This is getting into some interesting stuff here. Be yourself. It's in bold print, and express life as you find it. Never imitate. I think around the age of probably 17, because I was out of high school by that time, imitating kind of disappeared from my life. I didn't want the same shoes that 3 or 4 other girls in the group had. I didn't want to talk the way someone else talked because they talked that way. We all had to talk that way. I found out that by combing my hair a certain way, that just because she looked good in it didn't look good on me. Mm-hmm. To imitate is a poor excuse for an original. And I would beg you to show me something that is an imitation of something that is as good as the original. Be yourself. Be the special one. And in the Science of Mind, on page 263.7, I found the reference. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have an inner understanding of my place in the universe. I know that it is unique. The divine has not incarnated in anyone else in just the same individual way that God has in me. Identical twins are that's the exact word, is identical. But upon close examination, there are differences. Maybe it's a freckle on the right side instead of the left side. Maybe it's the nose that is just a centimeter off on one face than the other. Interesting. But when it comes to uniqueness and individuality, we each and every one of us have that. I am unique and forever individualized. I think my parents said, I'm glad there's not another one of her. And since my sister is probably on this broadcast, I would say they said the same thing about her, because I was not always the one that was out of step. I wasn't always the Johnny. Everybody's out of step except Johnny. She too was an individualized expression of God, no matter how we looked alike, no matter how much our mother dressed us alike, no matter how much I was called her and she was called me, and people thought that there was only one of us and all that. Individualized expressions of God. And thank God we came to a point in our life where it was very, very important for us to know that and to be that and to do that. We became independent, but also grew and loved each other and family and all that good stuff. But we became truly individualized expressions of God. I am unique and forever individualized. Therefore, I do not need to imitate anyone or to long for the good that belongs to another. There is so much good in this universe. So much, and it's perfect. Whatever you decide is your perfect beingness, your perfect color, your perfect food, whatever. It's wonderful for you, not necessarily for me, because I have my own. It's that simple. All good is now mine and is now manifest in my experience. If you can say that for yourself, oh my goodness, that is so wonderful. Not just say the words, but believe it and do it and live it and be it. I do not compete, don't complete anybody else either. I do not compete with anyone, for I am and remain forever myself. That's what I want today to be your message, your faith, your learning as we progress through this current phase of life. How many other phases have we lived through since the year you were born? Think about the year you were born, and it wasn't yesterday. So look back. How many things have you managed to live through? How many people in your experience have made their transition who are not experiencing this experience? A lot of stuff. So we've made it, and forever ourselves, we've made it. This self is united with all selves, the whole world, but is always an individual and a unique self. Isn't that wonderful? Always a unique and a wonderful self. And from this thing called you, on page 72.2, excuse me, 72.2, you exist, that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you. The spirit comes to you with a new and fresh creativity, and that may be what is listed here. Okay. Be yourself and express life as you find it. Never imitate, trust the self, find the self in God and God in the self. God in the self. God in the self. That's all we are. God in the self. And on page 73 in this thing called you, first paragraph, there is a pattern of perfection at the center of your being, which has never been touched by dis-ease or misfortune. This is Ernest Holmes' interpretation of Dharma, of living the best life that you can. And you cannot live the best life that you can unless you know what it is. And unless you know what it is, find it. And since you know what it is best up to now, continue to pursue and pursue and pursue and grow in your spiritual growth. Don't sit around the house and think that we're not going to improve, that we're not going to be better, that you need to wash your face and brush your teeth and put on some clothes and pull yourself up just because you don't have to go outside today. Do it for yourself. You know, at some point, you're not going to be able to stand yourself. I mean, you know, be real. Be real. How much of not bathing and dressing and combing your hair can you stand? Whew, I don't know. But it's true. And don't get so mopey-popey. Don't get so down in the dumps. Try, if you're watching CNN or MSNBC or some of the other stations who repeat and repeat and repeat what you already know, put on I was going to say the cartoons, but they're kind of violent. No, we don't watch cartoons. Watch something like I Dream of Jeannie or Sanford and Son, or something that makes you laugh, something that's ridiculous, something you don't have to think about. Like, no, I won't badmouth anybody's program. So, but think about something fun. Put on some good music. Remember when music was good? Oh, yes. Doing the housework when I was a housewife. And Roberta Flack and Nancy Wilson and Harry Belafonte. Oh, my goodness. Got that work done in no time. Think of something that's going to pep you up. Put on red all day, unless you hate red, or put on purple. This month is the color of purple. Power colors. Put on the stove. Turn on your stove and cook something that you really like. Cook it from scratch. And then set a table with a nice little mat and your good china and your good silverware and your good glassware, and pour yourself some sweet tea. Put some ice in it or some wine. And you sit down, and maybe you go upstairs or in your bedroom and you put on a nice dress. And you're there all by yourself, and you thank God that you're by yourself, because you don't have to think of anything to say to anybody. You don't have to care whether they like the food that you cooked. You're right there in your heaven, and you appreciate yourself, and you have a genius day, a genius meal, and you succumb to the happiness instead of the sorrow. I mean, I know I'm being a little extreme, but think about it. What do you want your life to be? Your purpose, your genius, your zone of genius. Where are you going with this? Never shall they say low here, high there, low here. Woo, woo, woo. No. The kingdom of God is within you. What a blessing. So we're going to look on to the number 3, the third, the goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal. It is to find and fully use your own gifts. So that's from a book called Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and it's on page 19. So within that, I did not have the book, and I could not reach that quote and any further research and any further, but just looking at it. The goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal. Because if you're looking at an imaginary ideal, you better look and see where it came from. Now, if it came from your heart, your mind, your focus, maybe something that like these high school young people yesterday, they're setting up this ideal. And for them, it's imaginary because they haven't done it yet. And you think back and you look back and you say, you know, when I was 18, 19 years old, and this person told me that I had the opportunity to get married, but did not mention college. What did I do with that? I got married. And I didn't go to college until my youngest child was in kindergarten. And I did not go to college until my husband, who was not 15 either, he was 4 years older than me, had gone to college. Something wound me back, see, to that ideal. Something wound me back when I was washing dishes one day. Decided I'm going to go to college. What if something happens to him? The man died at 49. See, before 50, before the halfway point. Before the halfway point. So that ideal of going back to school, yeah, as they say, late in life. But here I am with all those letters, if they're important to you, behind the name, which mean nothing unless you do something with them. So if you have an ideal, if you have something that maybe you didn't accomplish at 21, you got all this time on your hands, and you're in the age of computers, and you've got a computer. The library's closed, but you can get online and you can research anything. I've tried it. I put some weird words into that little magnifying glass at the bottom where it says search. You put a word in there, it'll give you anything you want to know. Good, bad, or indifferent. Do something. What does this say? The goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal. It is to find and fully use your own gifts. If you have a gift that you have not explored, we have gifts that we don't even know we have until, heaven forbid, that something comes up, something happens, and you don't think, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can take care of an aging parent. I don't think I can take care of a spouse who needs my medical expertise. I don't know if I have the patience to assist in raising grandchildren. I don't know. If you need to do something that you don't know about, you better find out quick. And what I guarantee you will find out is you can do anything. Anything that comes up in your life is God ordained, and therefore there is an answer within God to every question that you might have. So if you happen to find that book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, sounds like something you might want to read. So the fourth point here, the insistent and universal desire for self-expression. Didn't say Whatever your mama thought, whatever your neighbors think, whatever somebody tells you they think you ought to be doing or wearing or saying or being. Self, S-E-L-F, self-expression is the divine urge. Divine is capitalized, urge is capitalized, and we know that that means God. Divine urge, which is who? Which is us. Even God itself tapping at the walls of our heart. You ever get this feeling, messages, sometimes they're so clear, they frighten you. You really ought to be maybe considering doing this instead of doing that. Even to the point when you're driving and for some reason you're not sure why, you get off on a freeway exit and then you say, why did I get off here? And then you get home and you turn on the news and you see the freeway that you were on about 2 exits beyond where you got off. Big accident. And I'm not trying to be catastrophic about anything, but I just want you to think that kind of stuff happens. Did you? Yeah, got some. It happens. Did you ever think about when you have something in the refrigerator and you like milk, and you pour it out? It's in the bottle. It's wonderful. It's milk. It's white. Sure. You pour it out into the glass. What are those lumps falling out the bottom? Doesn't smell quite right. Okay, that's a message. That's a message that you ought not drink the milk. There are things that we do that maybe you just get that twist in your belly before you do it, or you get literally a knock upside the head. I mean, I get them. I get them. And I've learned to listen to them, to stop. Yesterday I was in the drugstore and I bought some things. I had some coupons and I got X number of this % off and that % off, and I bought my items. And then the person checking me out said, do you want an Easy Pass? I said, I got the little cart, that they do and they give whatever. And I said, what's that? Well, if you give us your email address, I'm sure you've got these. You give us your email address, you give us your telephone number, and then you give us a password. You get $10 off your purchase today. Sounds really good. I already saved $2 with these two coupons. You know what? Something hit me upside the head. No, I have enough information out there in the universe. Was it my thinking as just me, or was it that God essence within me that says you're a genius? You don't have to do that. $10 is not worth all your information being put out there. See, stuff happens. It comes up. Maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't. You're rushing through the house to go somewhere, and doggone it, you get a phone call that is so very important. If you had walked out when you were supposed to, you never would have gotten that call. I don't know. I live by faith, I guess. I live by faith. I live by proven faith. I live and have my being in my faith and in what I think, say, and do every single moment. The majority of the time. I'm not saying I'm St. June or anything like that. I'm saying I use my intuitive, God-given energy and self to be smart in what I do for myself. So that's the 4. And did I read the 4th? I'm going to read it. Yes, I'll read it. I'm not sure. The insistent and universal desire for self-expression is the divine urge within us, even God itself tapping at the walls of our heart, urging us on to a fuller life. And that's from Know Yourself, You're More Than You Think, perfect title. And that's on page 83. And I found on page 157, and that's the last reference, and I'll close with that. 157.3, it's in the middle of the 3rd paragraph. The divine urge within us is God's way of letting us know that we should push forward and take that which is awaiting our demand. Take that which is awaiting our demand. If the good were not already ours in the invisible supply, it would be impossible for us to procure it in any manner. He openeth his hand and satisfieth the desire of every living creature. So knowing that God is all there is within us, as us, through us, blessing us every moment within this dharma of life, as the Hindus would call it. Know that you're a genius. Know that you are divinely guarded and protected. You have a divine urge. So we're going to move into treatment. And the 2 practitioners that are here are going to support us. And the practitioners at home are going to accept our truth. And Gilbert, if you would play softly behind us, I'd appreciate it. I just know because I know because I feel so good. I feel that urge within me and that power that is sourcing through me, and the recognition of God in its allness, in its wonderment, and its beauty, and its patience, and its loving understanding of self. Oh, we know ourself because we know God. And God knows us because it is ourself. And at this very moment, the self that is God is the universal allness of everyone and everything on this planet. It is every thought, every urge, every heart's desire, every prayer. It is the culmination of perfect thought as those who lead us come to conclusions that are for the highest and best for all of us in a manner that is safe because God is safe. It is in a manner that is pure science because God is pure and is science. And knowing this, know that you are a divine emanation of God. You express as it, and therefore your willingness to be the conscious barrier between negativity and positivity. Be the bearer of light. Be the bearer of the unknown, to know that as we move with every breath, with every blink of an eye, that the future is here. The future is now. And as we progress at the height of knowingness. We are the genius of life. We keep within us the fire burning in our belly to know our truth, to share our truth with our neighbor, to share our truth with our faces covered as we go about our business and our lives, saving one another. We know our truth, we know our dharma, and we speak it, we accept it, and we give it away. And know that this is our blessed truth, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what religion you are, no matter what faith you are. God is all there is, and there is nothing more. I bless this time together. I bless each of you. I give thanks for you. I give thanks for the opportunity to share the awareness of God in and as and through of us, through all of us. I bless these practitioners and the practitioners of our church as they carry on holding the light for us, knowing that this is a divine appointment that we have met. I bless it, I allow it to be, and together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. Okay, Fran and Gilbert, you want to take us out?
Okay. Thank you, Reverend June, for that wonderful, inspiring spiritual message. We can all live by that and just go over our lives, no matter what age. So thank you again for that. So at this time, we'll take collection, and while we're doing that, we'll ask Gilbert to just bring us some of his wonderful melodies on the piano. So if the ushers come forward, we'll move through that. Whoa. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And at this time, we'll just simply give the benediction. And I'd just like for you to join with me with an attitude of gratitude, knowing that God is in this place, that God has moved so beautifully through this service, giving us those wise words, giving us direction, giving us the proper feelings that we need to really express our uniqueness. It's all God. And we are individualized expressions of spirit. And the genius within us moves through us, expresses through us, and lives through us. And we just give thanks for all of this goodness, give thanks for all of this magnificence. And knowing that this week, as we move through this week in Thanksgiving, that we are divinely guarded, guided, connected, and protected. For God is right where we are. And together let us affirm. And so it is. Amen and amen. And as we end, don't forget to, we welcome your gifts and offerings and tithes as our financial commitments are still moving forward. But we know we're blessed and God is meeting all of our needs right now as we speak. Have a blessed week.